I want to pop in with a quick, timely update that my 12-week curriculum called SmartBody SmartMind, some people know this as SBSM, we will be running it again in September 2023. To be exact, we will open up registration on September 12th for 1 week, and we will begin around the 24th of September, a fresh new round. This will be the 14th time we have run this powerful online curriculum. That's all I'm going to say about it now. I just want to make sure you know, just in case you're wondering how you can do this work with me, how you can put the education and the theory into practice. Of course, Smart Body, Smart Mind is also education, but a lot of practice, and people have been doing this curriculum for many years now. We've had people from all over the country go through this curriculum and have much success. Check it out, get on the wait list, and mark your calendars for September 12th, which is when we open up registration. Hey everyone, it is Irene Elisabeth here, and welcome to this entire world of nervous system health and healing. Today I have a sort of two-parter. One, I want to share a story from one of our students from the 21-day nervous system tune-up. Her name is Elizabeth. This is an update that she sent me via email, so I'm going to read her update, and it's all good stuff. The second thing I want to tie into this update and share revolves around this concept that we get asked all the time, my team and I: will this work? Heal my XYZ. Obviously, XYZ is code for insert the thing that you are curious about, that you are working with, that your partner is working with, your kid, your family member. Everyone wants to know, will this work? Specifically, will the work that I do and that I teach via my online courses help them with their XYZ? And we do our best to answer these questions. However, this world of ours is so broad, with so many troubles and ailments and diagnoses and illnesses, et cetera, that it's hard for us to always say with certainty. However, what I do know is that our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system, I'm not going to get into all the branches. Go look for my other videos that describe what this is and how it works. But I will say this: our autonomic nervous system that governs our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, part of our peripheral nervous system, it touches everything. Organs, hormones, our muscles, our heart, our respiration, our engagement with the world, our ability to move, our ability to sleep, our ability to digest, our ability to talk and walk, create, connect, no danger, no safety, all of it. And so if we just go in a reverse engineering kind of way, when we work at this foundational ground level, when this part of us gets stronger, it's almost a given that our system will get better. Now, how far we get better, everyone is different, right? Everyone is different. I have found that age doesn't necessarily mean much. In other words, we have older clientele, older students who are well into their 70s, and they are having massive shifts and changes at a global level. Whereas we might have someone in their 20s whom is a little more stuck in, let's say, victim mode, or they can't get out of a bad, abusive environment. Their system, even though they're younger and they have youth on their side, might not improve as much as that 70-year-old who's living in a secure home, whom wants to really figure out how to do this. There's no, we could say, no 100% known script for how one will take to this work and make it their own and become their own medicine, as we like to say. But what I do know, and this is why I think it can be confusing when you go to our site and you see all of the differing varied improvements, it might be like, well, does this help this? Does this help this? And usually we say, when you get baseline nervous system regulation on board, even when you grow just a little bit more capacity in your system, it offers the opportunity for your core biological, neurophysiological systems to start to repair and recover. So I'm going to that is my answer to, will this help XYZ? Of course, if someone has a broken bone and they need it to be fixed, I'm not going to say don't go to the hospital. But what will help is understanding your stress physiology. The more regulated, the more capacity you have to be with, say, that accident, the better you take care of yourself, the better when you're at the hospital, you will ask for what you need. If you have to go under to be operated on, you will know how to take care of yourself going in and going out of that surgery. And that, my friends, makes all the difference in the world with recovery. And that is a part of the story I want to share. So 2 years ago, I had to look it up because I thought it was last year, but it was actually July 18th, 2021. I did a video called Healing from Fibromyalgia, EDS, POTS, More Mental and More Mental Clarity. This story was a story of Elisabeth. Elisabeth is from Sweden. She shared her story with me via email. I read her letter to you all. We'll post that video near here. And then I interviewed her later that year in November. So we'll also post that interview. And we talk about these crazy shifts that she had from, I'm going to say this with air quotes, just doing the 21-day nervous system tune-up. Now, of course, she had done other practices, healthy eating. She has a good relationship, secure home life. So all those base level things are there, as I was saying earlier. And she was missing this piece. She was missing the deep biological understanding of her nervous system, how it works, and how it was still stuck in fight, flight, and freeze. And by going into this work, these things, fibromyalgia, EDS, POTS, her clarity of thinking, all shifted. And her baseline scale of pain was 0 at about 6 or so months into this work. She also shared with me after the fact that she is keeping her plants alive, they're thriving, and she can exercise and climb mountains and do things that she's never been able to do before. So earlier this year, it was early May, she sent me another email wanting to share what has been going on. And so just a reminder, this is 2 years ago. She originally caught up with me. She's only done the 21-day nervous system tune-up, but she keeps applying the principles, the work. So what this shows is that this work is sticking, it's staying with her, and that's what we want. So the reason I gave you the example of the broken arm and going into the hospital is she had a hospital experience and a surgical experience that was completely different than another time where she had a surgery. So I'm going to read this verbatim. All right, so it's story time. So Elisabeth writes, I just wanted to keep you updated and share my latest experience thanks to your work. Feel free to share as you like. Last week I had my gallbladder removed during a laparoscopic surgery. It was routine procedure, everything went great, but I believe it went great thanks to all the somatic and nervous system work I have been doing during the past 3 years. In 2010, remember, we're 2023 now, in 2010, I had another similar surgery, but due to an unregulated, dysregulated nervous system with no feeling of safety or somatic awareness, I woke up from the surgery in panic and I couldn't lie still because of the pain. I didn't realize until now how traumatic it was for me. So this time last week, I was very nervous and anxious before the surgery. And by the way, this is normal, right? To actually feel a little nerves going into surgery makes complete sense. But I did all the things I learned. Orienting, I talked to the nurse about my anxiety, and they were all trauma informed, which is great. And they did all the right things to ease my worrying. So that's the kind of nurse, that's the kind of surgical team you want. And I encourage people, if you go in for a routine procedure, even if you're just getting your blood taken, or you're getting your blood pressure taken, tell the nurse, tell the doctor, I'm a little nervous. Usually these people understand that and they invite the communication so they know how to help you. So just be sure to advocate for yourself if you are going into medical procedures. Don't sit there stone cold, so nervous to the point where your blood pressure goes through the roof. And of course, that screws up readings on blood pressure if we don't voice these things. So I just wanted to mention that. All right, back to her story. After the surgery, I woke up calm with no nausea or dizziness. I, of course, know the surgical procedures and anesthesia has developed over the past 13 years, but it was more than that. I'm still astonished how fast I recovered. I didn't even need all the pain relievers they had prepped for me. I left the hospital 3 hours after the surgery. Even my husband looked surprised at how alert I looked when he picked me up. Maybe this is a normal recovery since it's routine, but I'm only comparing it with my last experience. I've done this work for 3 years and I know I have a long journey ahead, lifelong, but I'm also thankful and proud of myself for all of this. Thank you. You are welcome, Elizabeth. What is so important about this story is it shows that we're always going to have things that come into our life that are a little stressful, heck, even really traumatic and downright terrible and awful. But it's how we enter in, how we experience, how we work with ourselves, how we work with those around us, in this case, the nurses, the medical team. How we enter into these things makes so much difference. There's a saying that I believe was from perhaps the First or the Second World War when it came to soldiers going under for surgery. And it goes something like this: as they go in, so they come out. As they go in, so they come out. What that means, if you go under surgery, anesthesia, freaking out and so scared, and you're not talking to anyone, and you're trying to button it up, and you're maybe going into a bit of a freeze response, you will come out freaking out and panicked. Just as she said the first time, there was panic afterwards, right? That is the system expressing what was held inside. So if we have this information, this knowledge, these practices, and as she said, she's been doing this work for about 3 years now because she had been in it, I think it was about 6 months before she reached out to me in the summer of 2021. As we do this, as we continue to do this work, we see changes. Her first changes were around her chronic conditions, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, EDS, POTS. I've done a video on POTS. This is where the whole autonomic nervous system cannot regulate your blood pressure. This has become very, very, I'm seeing it a lot these days, right? And so there are ways to work with these situations, these syndromes, as we call them, at this deep nervous system level. It's not a quick fix, though. Elizabeth became a scholar of her body, but now she has power. She has sovereignty over how to interact with herself and others so that she can come out the other side in this situation, a surgical experience, with ease and just go back to life. It would be the same thing if there was an accident, a stressful situation, something that throws her off. She knows how to bring herself back into, we could say, the middle, into regulation, and there's no need for, it sounds like, for her outside help, outside resource. Even the pain medication she didn't need. And this reminds me of a story I shared also about 2 years ago, I think, and I'll link this. I wrote an article about it around going under anesthesia myself for an operation to my knee. It was an important operation. And I came out of that, as she said, no nausea, no panic, no grogginess. I didn't need any of the pain medications. And I healed really quickly. Very different to the last surgeries I had that would have been about 23 years ago, where I was sick after the anesthesia and I just didn't have that bounce back factor that I did 2 years ago. And this is 20 years after. So this is where this idea of youth doesn't add up, because I'm much older, obviously, than I was 23 years ago, but I recovered faster. My immune system is healthier. My detox pathways are healthier. So I wanted to share this story. Just a reminder, Elizabeth, she started the 21-day nervous system tune-up back in early 2021, had all these shifts at the core syndromal level. She had these chronic conditions. Those shifted. She kept going. She kept going. I hear from her about a year ago. She can now hike mountains and run up hills, which means her fitness is improving. Her bone density is maintaining. I'm not going to get into why that's important now, other than to say we want to keep up our fitness. We want to keep up our bone capacity, our muscle mass. This is so important for aging well, aging successfully, and not being dependent on others later in life. It also is good for our blood markers, our heart health, our mental health. So I hope you see how this trickles into all these other things. And then now, of course, this year, 2023, she has a surgery, and it doesn't really impact her other than what had to happen happened. And here we are today. And she also, final thing I'm going to point out here, I'm going to read it one more time. I've only done this work for 3 years, and I know I have a long journey ahead, lifelong. She also recognizes that this work is not to be ended. It continues. And for those of you here who are super new and you're just going, I don't know how I'm ever going to heal these troubles that I have, I understand that it can seem daunting and almost impossible, but you must start with something. As you gain more capacity, as you gain more capacity to sense these dysregulations inside, as you are better at dealing with your current day stressors in a more organic and biological way, this is what we teach, what I teach, the capacity gets bigger in your system. You have more space in your system. You have more ability to even know what's going on. But at the beginning, it can feel really, really overwhelming. And sometimes you're not sure if any of this is going to work. I'm here to say, as is Elizabeth and my thousands and thousands of students all around the world, this does work when we put in the work. Everyone's journey is going to be different. So I can't say it's going to be the same as Elizabeth's. It's going to take you 6 months to get to here and 12 months to get to there. Sometimes people's journeys are faster. Sometimes people's journeys take a little longer. Again, it depends on the circumstance. It depends on the situation. It depends on so many things. But to come back to my first note at the beginning of this video, our autonomic nervous system wants to be healthy. When it is regulated, it sends out the right signals to all the systems to start to repair, to start to recover, to start to rejuvenate, to start to connect with the world, to go out into the world, to ask for what we need and to say no when we might not want something. So there's more to this than just getting rid of symptoms and having pain relief. That is a very important part. And this trickles out, this ripples out into all aspects of our life. So if you want to learn more, if you're new here and you haven't started anything, one of the ways I recommend, I'm going to give you a few. One is to start with our new here page. Not sure if you've seen that. If you are new here, you probably haven't. It's on my site, irenelyne.com. Very easy to find. We'll link it below here too. Just click on that, and that will give you really a journey, a write-up of what I've sort of said in this video, but just with a little more detail. And from there, if you want to dive deeper, we have a field guide, which guides you through just some of the basic videos that I've done over the years, the more essential ones that I think everyone should know and watch. So start with those videos. And then if you want a deeper dive, the 21-day nervous system tune-up that Elizabeth did, that is available to purchase and start at any time. It's not something that you have to finish in 21 days. She certainly did not, and we talk about that in our interview. And then if you want to go even further, SmartBody SmartMind is going to start up in September of 2023. So there's lots there that you can work with. Of course, I have many more videos on this channel, many ebooks on my site. There's always something there for you, whether it's a free resource, a class, a course, a bigger program. We have something for everyone. So my only ask is that you start with something. Our world needs this regulation. It's possible, and I just hope that you take that next step, even if it's a baby one, to do the next thing and then the next thing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Elizabeth for letting me read this and share with everyone. And I have no doubt that there might be another update from her in a year or two. Take care, everyone, and we will see you next time.